come down here to the skirt. This exquisite carving on the knees. Oh, and by the way, hey, Donald Trump, go yourself.
Jimmy Kimmel just cannot stop winning this week. He's showing Trump and these MAGA broadcasters that when you fuck around, you find out. Despite the fact that Kimmel is doubling, even tripling down on roasting Trump during his show, Sinclair and Nexstar, the MAGA broadcasters who preempted Kimmel, have now completely caved to the pressure of the almighty mouse.
All right, now get out there and make me some goddamn money!
Now, I'm no fan of massive media conglomerations. I'm much more of a grassroots, independent media kind of guy myself. I'm sure y'all are too, which is why you should subscribe to Really American. But it's great to see someone, in this case Disney and ABC, stand up for Kimmel's right to verbally grab Trump by his soiled drawers and give him a wedgie.
Even though we're still being preempted in 60 American cities, on Tuesday, we had our second highest rated show in almost 23 years on the air. Our monologue from Tuesday night has more than 21 million views just on YouTube alone. And I want to say, we couldn't have done it without you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. We got the Trump up, and we appreciate it. And I've noticed that after the big boost we got, other shows on television seem to be taking shots at Trump, too.
This chair came from my stepfather's family. I, at one time, got offered $75 from an antique dealer for it.
Well, I'm happy to tell you this is a genuine Philadelphia Chippendale. Come down here to the skirt. This exquisite carving on the knees. Oh, and by the way, hey, Donald Trump, go yourself. These classic clawball feet, they're round yet lumpy, like Trump's titties. You heard me, you fat orange bitch? At auction, you're gonna get something like $8,000 to $12,000. Easy.
Okay, not bad. Better than the $75 offer.
Release the Epstein files.
Kimmel is unleashed. He is not afraid to go there, and there's nothing Sinclair can do. Here's the letter they sent releasing their preempt of Kimmel. They said, Sinclair today announced it will end its preemption of Jimmy Kimmel Live, and the show will return this evening on Sinclair's ABC affiliates. Our objective throughout this process has been to ensure that programming remains accurate and engaging for the widest possible audience, as long as that audience includes MAGA and MAGA alone. They go on, in our ongoing and constructive discussions with ABC, Sinclair proposed measures to strengthen accountability, viewer feedback, and community dialogue, including a network-wide independent ombudsman. These proposals were suggested as collaborative efforts between the ABC affiliates and the ABC network. Yeah, right. They try to shoehorn in their own independent political advisor, basically, who gets to okay or deny any segment that ABC produces. Of course they weren't going to do that. They also try to force Jimmy Kimmel to give a personal donation to Turning Point USA. Our decision to preempt this program was independent of any government interaction or influence, so they're sure to clear the FCC of any proposed wrongdoing here. Again, they're trying to align themselves in the good graces of the FCC, who have already stated that they're looking to pull the licensing for any broadcasters who aren't willing to play ball. Free speech provides broadcasters with the right to exercise judgment as to content on their local stations. I love that these guys are trying to position themselves as the victims of free speech restrictions, as if broadcasters are the ones who have freedom of speech, and we're trying to pressure them into giving up their rights. While we understand that not everyone will agree with our decision about programming, it is simply inconsistent to champion free speech while demanding that broadcasters air specific content. No one is pressuring them to air specific content that they didn't already agree to air. It's not free speech to restrict somebody else's speech. Like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It turns out that Sinclair was just a yapping chihuahua, all bark and no bite. And it really feels like now that Kimmel knows he has the backing of ABC and Disney, he is not holding back with his roast of Donald the Dump Trump.
One of the things I want to do when we're in New York, and I want you to go with me here, I want to go see the escalator that tried to viciously attack the president this week. Have you been enjoying Trump's most ridiculous distraction from the Epstein files yet? The president claims he's the victim of a triple sabotage during his visit to the United Nations building in New York on Tuesday. The teleprompter wasn't working. There were issues with the sound system, and most nefariously of all, his escalator stopped. The UN says they think it was Trump's own videographer that accidentally kicked a safety mechanism, but Magatha Christie and his team of defective detectives, they do not believe it. They are on the case. This was not just a minor incident. This was a harrowing escape.
Trump and Melania were riding it up, and it just stopped.
Thankfully, the First Lady and the President had their hands on the rail as they were going up the escalator.
I've never known an escalator to be stopped. I go on escalators all the time. That's when I'm happiest, on an escalator.
Right. I'm going to say it could be a trap. You're going to say you're being wild and crazy. But that's what I have to be.
They set mousetraps for the bear that is President Trump, and he walked through them.
She walks on it, it stops, she turns around to the president, and she just leads the president up and walks. So she was unfazed by it. But this could have been a massive issue. And, you know, the president being frozen there in one place makes him vulnerable.
Yeah. Unless he can walk, then... They act like they dropped him into shark-infested waters. It was an escalator. You know what another word for frozen escalator is? Stairs. I mean, I'm starting to get confused. Is he the strongest, healthiest, most physically powerful man-beast ever elected president, or a brittle-boned grandma with osteoporosis? Which is he?
It looks like Nexstar is following closely behind Sinclair's lead here, as they've also announced that they're ending their boycott of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Here's their statement. Nexstar Media Group announced today that Jimmy Kimmel Live will return to the company's owned and partnered television stations affiliated with ABC. Beginning tonight, they turned this thing around immediately after they got the phone call from the lawyers saying if they go over 7 days, they're at risk of losing that Monday Night Football. We've had discussions with executives at Walt Disney Company and appreciate their constructive approach to addressing our concerns. They were also sure to clear the FCC here. They said, to be clear, our commitment to those principles has guided our decisions throughout this process, independent of any external influence from government agencies or individuals. Yeah, the fact that Donald Trump tweeted that he was going to go after ABC and that Brendan Carr praised Nexstar and Sinclair for taking Jimmy Kimmel off the air, no, that has nothing to do with the situation. This is clearly just them wanting to protect their local communities from the threat of Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Which of these mushrooms, orange mushrooms, would most represent the commander-in-chief of the United States military?
And this was the likely outcome. I mean, it's clear that neither one of these broadcasters was willing to go past their 1 week limit that they were allowed within their contract. If they went any further with this, Disney was going to be able to fight back a lot harder. Disney has other tools in its kit, some of them big. It could withhold essential programming like Monday Night Football, which airs both on ABC and Disney's ESPN. So we know that Bob Iger was feeling a ton of pressure to put the show back on the air. And it looks like Bob Iger took that pressure and just put it right back on the MAGA broadcasters, probably making them wish that they never kicked this hornet's nest to begin with. Make sure to stay up to date by subscribing to Really American. I'm Tony Hinderman, and I'll catch you next time.